Well, hello and welcome to our Avoya Travel Town Hall. Thank you to everybody who's joining us today. We're excited to have you, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules to tune in. I'm Joanna Boulos, the Trade Marketing Manager here at Avoya Travel, and today I'm joined by my wonderful colleagues, Tammy Ritchie and Chris Green, along with these two beautiful ladies, Kathy and Susan, who are independent agency owners in the Avoya Travel Network. I'll let each of them give you a little background about themselves before we get started here. Kathy, we can start with you.
Okay. I'm Kathy Weitzman. I own A-List Travel in beautiful Santa Clarita, California. I've been with Avoya for 3.5 years now, best 3.5 years of my life. Prior to that, I worked both at Princess Cruises and Uniworld.
Great, thank you. Susan.
I am an independent agent from Allentown, Pennsylvania. I've been in travel since 2001, and that was not a great year to start travel, but it still worked out okay. I was a destination wedding and honeymoon specialist for about 10 years and decided to join Avoya in 2011 and kind of felt my way through the different options and became a river cruise specialist. And it has been the best decision I've ever made in my life. Great quality of life, incredible support, and wonderful people to work with.
Thanks, Susan. Tammy, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Tammy Ritchie. I'm the Vice President of Network Engagement with Avoya Travel. I've been in travel 30 on some odd years. We don't want to give away our age here, but I have been on all sides of it. I was an agency owner. I was awarded a first Expedia Cruise Ship Center home-based franchise for the United States, which I ran for about 4 years and hosted agents, and I gave that up and came on board Avoya as an independent agency owner and absolutely loved every minute of it. We started the Mastermind Program, which you'll hear a little bit more about, and I was brought on board to head that up, and 10 years later, we're still here and going strong. So thank you all for joining us, and thank you, ladies, for being here.
Chris, over to you.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Chris Green, or good morning, wherever you are. I'm Chris Green. I'm the Director of Network Growth for the Avoya Travel Network. And I've been with Avoya Travel for about 7 years now. And like Tammy, I've been in the industry for quite some time. Started off as a corporate travel agent, was on the VIP desk at Travelport, has been in group sales, leisure sales, destination weddings. I'm an agency owner in the past. And then about 7 years ago, actually my agreement would have been signed about 7 years ago the other day, I decided to join Avoya Travel. They were certainly, in my research, ahead of the field, and was really happy to move over into the network growth side. And been, again, like I said, the director for about the last 4 years.
Thanks, Chris. And thank you to all of you for joining us today to share insights about the current industry environment, your experiences navigating through the pandemic and its impact on travel, as well as sharing tips on how to stay relevant and how Avoya is supporting travel advisors during this time. For everybody on the call, we'll also have time for a Q&A session at the end. So if you have any questions throughout the discussion, feel free to submit them in the question box, and we'll do our best to get to all of those. And with that, let's jump right in here. So these are truly unprecedented times, although the travel industry has been affected by national disasters in the past, including the 2008 recession and 9/11. We've never really seen anything on this large of a global scale. So I'll start with you, Chris. What has surprised you the most since the start of COVID-19?
Well, I think if you just take the whole COVID-19 as a whole, I think just how important toilet paper is to our society, right? I mean, who had any idea that it was going to be the rush to the store to get all the rolls? But in all seriousness, I think from an industry standpoint, the thing I always knew, but I've been really pleasantly surprised to see highlighted in so many ways, is the value and importance that travel agents actually bring to the table. I mean, to my co-panelists, Kathy and Susan, and to all the travel agents on the forum today, I really salute you. I admire your grit, your determination. I commend your service to your clients, and I hope that every person who has traveled in the past and certainly will travel in the future understands just how vital it is to have a real person helping you, to establish that relationship with a travel professional, because they make the difference. And the data really shows that to be true as well, because clients that had a travel professional, when they worked with a travel professional, when the industry hit the brakes in around February, and they had trips interrupted or canceled by vendors. Those that worked with a travel agent are much more likely to take things like a future cruise credit versus demanding refunds. And that alone allowed agencies to have some light at the end of the tunnel. Clients also reported having fewer negative reviews, less problems, and continue to have a stronger interest in future travel. And the big box players can't say that. Costco Travel can't say that. The online travel monsters, as I call them, can't say that. But real travel agents can, and I think it's a point of pride that all of us should feel that are in this industry.
Thank you, Chris. Kind of leans into the next question. Susan, what are some top questions that you find your clients asking, and how do you respond to them?
Well, I mean, the biggest question is, what do I do, in their individual situations? And this comes from knowing my clients and talking to them and discussing, what are their health concerns, what are their financial concerns, and what, if anything, is the cruise line or tour operator offering them. So it's been more of a relationship building process than anything else. They're concerned about, how am I going to get there? Is it safe to fly? What happens if I get sick while I'm away? What insurance can you offer? And basically what we've done is, I'd say 75% of my guests have moved to future dates. In 2021, being optimistic, and then 2022, for those that are less optimistic, that things are going to get back in track for next year.
Susan, what do you see as future, travel trends, or what do you predict will change, with the current situation?
What I'm seeing is people are well, the nice thing for me, people are looking for the big ticket items right now. They want something exceptional to look forward to. So I've booked a lot of guests on Africa and Egypt tours with AMA Waterways. Then they're also looking for smaller ships, smaller tours if they're considering doing a tour. They don't want to be one of the crowds at this point. So they're looking for suggestions and options for those kind of tours.
Mm-hmm. Kathy, do you have anything to add to that in terms of what you're seeing?
Well, it's pretty much the same as the others said. I'm finding a lot of people looking more towards domestic that they had never thought of before. Personally, I just booked myself on a Princess cruise going in February because I just need something to look forward to. And I think that's the way most people are feeling that way, especially nobody thought it was going to last this long. I don't think I'm wrong in making that statement. I mean, I've been in this industry for a long time. I've been through 9/11. I've been through Ebola. I've been through SARS, been through all of it. Nothing ever lasted this long. I think of this all the time as it's one day closer to being over. So with me, the glass is always half full. And it's kind of the way I live my life. And I try to get my clients to feel the same way. You want to rebook for next year just because you need something to wake up for and think about your next trip. I just know that people just need to have something in the hopper. They need to have something to look forward to, even if it's a weekend in Vegas. So that's
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for, something to open up, or just to get out for the weekend, or anything, just to change up, the day-to-day that, being at home for so long. Definitely. And Kathy, how are you staying informed and up to date in the current environment? There's so much changing with policies and whatnot.
It does. It changes daily. It changes by the minute. And my clients think that I'm a mind reader, so I have to try to be a mind reader. I read everything I can get my hands on. I go to as many webinars as I possibly can. I read as many travel blogs as I possibly can, because they're coming to us for the answers. And even though nothing is carved in stone and we we can't, I love when they'll call and they'll say, when is this going to be over? Is it safe for me to travel in December? Gee, if I had a glass ball, I picked the right 6 numbers in lotto, but I don't. So it's a matter of keeping people calm and just being aware of how long the cancellations for every cruise line, every resort, when things are going to reopen, and then just hoping that it doesn't get paused again. So just keeping emails, blogs, webinars, anything I can possibly learn, get a better insight of what's going on, I try to do.
Mm-hmm. Susan, is there anything that you focused on specifically or mostly during this time to help move your business forward or to stay relevant?
Well, a lot of it has been customer retention, and this is where I'd like to take a moment and give a plug to the Mastermind Program. Tammy was actually the founder of our Mastermind Program, and I started it. I was one of the founding members of it. And it's basically a mentoring program, and it taught me a whole new way to approach my business in terms of my sales, how I approach each guest. I learned about personalities, my personality in particular, and how my personality meshes with other personalities and how better to serve my clients. So by doing that since 2011, 2012, I've built relationships with my clients, and I was able to, after the crying stopped, because I'm a river cruise specialist and everything died in March, then I, kind of got my bootstraps up and decided how's the best way to handle this. And for those that, had their sailing canceled, we went over the benefits to taking the future cruise credit versus, cash. And I'm able, after the first deluge of that, I was able to go through and look at my book of business that, through the Avoya system, which is a nice dashboard for me to look at and reports I could put out. And I was able to go through and say, okay, I know this person, I know their personality. I'm going to preemptively contact them. They've got a final payment coming up in August. It's May. They're probably worried about it. Let's see where their thoughts are at. And what I ended up doing, and I could not have done this without the training that I received in Mastermind and the relationships that I built through Avoya, I was able to move my large group from this October to October 22. And I moved almost 90% of those that had final payments coming up to either 21 or 22, working with the cruise line to do it without penalties. And yeah, I'm not going to get much this year in commission, but it's still there. I haven't lost it. It's just a future advance. And that I credit to the confidence that I have, knowing my clients, understanding their personalities, and preemptively going through that. And I can't say enough about Mastermind Program and the different steps that you take to get to where you want to be.
Thanks. Tammy, so Susan kind of touched on the Mastermind Program. You can talk about that, but what resources has Avoya adapted to fit the current environment or added to meet the demands of travel advisors during this pandemic to help keep their businesses moving forward?
There's so many things I could sit here and talk about for hours, but at the beginning of all this, Avoya founded the Avoya Cares, and it was a whole platform to help everybody maneuver through all of the different governmental offerings and what was there and how to do this and what to answer, and because it was just a mess and people were very confused. Like Susan said, as once crying stopped, I'm always saying success is strategy in motion. So no matter where we are, we've had to create a strategy. And Avoya has done the same thing. We've taken things to a more virtual platform. We're holding our conference virtually. We've done our first ever land forum virtually. We've done Mastermind Academies virtually. We're doing new marketing resources, and I don't know if Chris is going to be touching on that, but so many different things to help our independent agency owners not only continue marketing and working with their current book of business or their clients, but also helping them to expand to their personal books, people that they may know. We're known for our leads. And right now, there probably is not a whole lot of them coming in because people are just kind of frozen in time. However, every person that everyone knows is looking for something. And I think both Kathy and Susan touched on it, something to look forward to. And helping, you don't know when they're going to pull that trigger. So you've got to be there. You've got to be giving that hope. And instead of talking about, gosh, it's the environment is so bad out there. Well, okay, we all know that. That's a given. We don't have to sit there and keep saying that, but get them dreaming again. You just look at Kathy's background and it's Greece. Where do you want to go when this is over? So Avoya is doing a lot of things along that lines too to help empower the agency owner to reach out to those clients and those that they know. And Susan kind of hit on it too. I think one of the big things that Avoya is very well known for and is excellent at is developing those relationships. And helping the agency learn how to go from being a travel agent to being an agency owner, kind of like Susan was talking about through the Mastermind Program and then all the other different things, our Avoya University. Everything that we offer is helping them change their mindset of how they look at their business, which is very much part of being successful, be it in this environment or any other environment. But our relationships that the IAs have with their clients, the relationships that Avoya has with the vendors, and Susan again touched on that. It's these incredible relationships that we have that Avoya has nurtured for over 50 years that is allowing us to be a little stronger perhaps in situations. But the big thing that I love, and I've never seen this, and I've been a business and sales coach for, again, over 30 years, is the relationships of the independent agency owners with each other. I have never ever in my life seen a more caring and sharing group of people who, if they have something that works, they share it. If they're going through a challenge, they share it and somebody lifts them up. So we've got a Facebook group that allows for that community. We have another community forum. So again, Avoya is doing everything that we can possibly do to help just lift them up.
Let's see. I guess touching on that, Chris, if you had anything to add in terms of what you would say that Avoya did to pivot, to adapt to this drastic overnight change, the pandemic.
Well, I think it all starts with a solid foundation, right? I think is what we're hearing from the other panelists. And Avoya Travel and the Avoya Travel Network, it's built on a foundation of integrity and professionalism. And in really tough moments, I think those are the things that you fall back on, your core values. And from the moment the pandemic started, right, the leadership of Avoya Travel made it very clear that our mission was to support the network no matter what it took. We shifted all of our focus to our existing affiliates and then agencies who might be on this, the forum today that might be in a situation where either their host isn't able to provide the proper support or won't provide the proper support. So we paused our program for new travel agencies and we focused all the resources so that we didn't get stretched too thin. As Tammy said, so many exciting things. And one of the things I think has really been exciting has been the brand new Marketing Resource Center. I mean, for me, I just think that's just incredibly exciting. They just announced that in the last couple of days. It allows for our independent affiliates to have so much more personalization and allow that elite access to direct marketing capabilities. I mean, if you take the knowledge and the passion and the understanding of the industry that the travel professionals have, and then you combine that with world-class marketing tools, the results really should be absolutely amazing. And then one other really new relationship that I think has been pivotal is our new relationship with a company called Uplift. And for people that aren't aware of Uplift, it's a service that allows clients to buy travel now and pay for travel later, much like a credit card, but without having to allocate their whole credit card limit for the one trip. This is like an additional source of credit. And it's really fantastic because it's great for clients and it's great for the travel industry because it allows agents to upsell clients, right? Anybody that's playing with future money, that's usually a pretty good spot to try to upsell. Adding additional commissions to the bookings. And since the bookings are considered paid in full and not cancelable, the commissions are protected. So that's a huge win-win too. So I just think those are some of the things that we've pivoted to try to provide more resources and more opportunities for our independent affiliates.
And speaking of clients, Kathy, what are you doing to nurture, your existing client relationships and stay top of mind?
Thank you. I am a relationship builder. I always have been. I've been on the phone. I've been on the phone, emails. It goes back to my early days in travel when brochures were the main thing. And they used to call business development managers back in the day brochure droppers. And I always made sure that all of my travel agents had brochures, just like, because if they are looking for a certain cruise line, I want them never to say, oh, but I don't have their brochure. Same thing with my clients. If they are all of a sudden ready to travel, I want to be first of mind when they do make that decision. So I am following up with every passenger that was a previous traveler, anybody who's shown interest. Weekly, I go through over 300 contacts and send an email or make a phone call. I note birthdays, I note anniversaries and special occasions, and I always follow up with that. But right now, people are pretty bored and they're thinking about their past travels. You can see it all over the social media, people showing memories of their past travels. And when they're ready to travel again, I don't want them to think, who should I call? I want them always to be first of mind when they're planning their dream vacation. So I have a Facebook page and Instagram page, which are updated daily. And I've focused away from promotions and gone into destinations, as you can see by my Greece background. So I'm constantly switching it every day to highlight a different destination. It's going to hit someone. It's going to hit someone who's going to say, oh, I got to find more about this Greece trip that Kathy showed pictures of. Yesterday it was Italy.
Susan, what are you doing to stay engaged with both clients and maybe even suppliers during this time? Keep those relationships going.
Well, having to move a very large group, we did a webinar and that was great. And then I've always wanted to go to Egypt, so I put together a group and I did a webinar with Amma, and that was very successful. But more importantly than all that stuff, I'm just calling my clients, just calling, hey, I know you live in California. I see the COVID's on the surge. How you doing? How are you getting your groceries? What are the things that you're doing? Maybe we can share some tips. Nothing about selling. I am not, other than offering these events through, a newsletter, emails, or whatever. Absolutely no selling, just checking up on them, because many of them have become friends. I've been doing this a long time with Avoya, and I built a very good size customer base and a lot of repeat guests, and those are the ones I'm checking in with. And the first ones that get called are the ones that had to cancel. It's been a few months. How you doing? And I think that really helps. It's just, the most important thing is to keep in their mind, but also check upon them.
Mm-hmm. Have there been any Avoya resources that you found to be the most beneficial for your business throughout the crisis? And if there's any additional ones that you hope Avoya would, add or to help you out, Susan?
The Avoya resources, obviously the Mastermind Facebook page, which is open to all independent agencies, has been really crucial in, hey, I just, had a 3-hour hold time trying to get hold of, X supplier. And then somebody will pipe in and say, well, try it right at 6 a.m. You might have better success, or something like that. One of the key things in the beginning was what are we doing? You know, what's going on in terms of ourselves? You know, who's protecting commission? Who's, you know, being a good supplier and who's not being a good supplier? And then in terms of insurance, we have a relationship with Allianz Travel Assistance, and we have an amazing rep. And she's been doing webinars for us to answer questions about what is covered, what is not covered, how do we proceed with this client, how do we proceed with that client. And that's something that I would not have had as an independent outside of a host agency. And it really, it took a lot of the stress away. And also, you know, seeing other agents, yes, their business is kind of crashing at the same time back in March. You know, what are we all doing? I also got a call from one of the owners. And, you know, come on, he's got bigger things to deal with. He just called to see how I was doing. And there's not a lot of place I'm getting a little choked up by that, because that was incredibly sweet. He's got a lot more things to worry about than me. And I just thought that was just really wonderful. So there's a ton of webinars. There's a ton of educational experiences. My main go-to vendor is Alma Waterways, so I do like almost every webinar that they offer. But it's really just the community that we have that's been the best resource.
Thank you. Tammy, what do you think has been a key to maintaining positivity amongst both independent agencies in the Avoya network and the Avoya support staff?
Well, you know, Susan's sitting there getting teary-eyed, and I'm sitting there getting teary-eyed because it just brings it home to me. You hear it so often said that a company is a family, and truly, Avoya is a family. And everything starts at the top and then trickles down in any company. And because Avoya truly is a family, it was founded by a family, is still owned by a family, that comes all the way through, you know, from the employee side of things. And when the employees are feeling that way, then we're able to help the network feel the same way. So that's one thing I think is probably crucial. I know my team is making constant call outs to everybody. Just like Susan said, are you okay? How's it going? What can we do to help? We're here. You're not alone. If you want to cry, pick up the phone, call us, because we truly do care about them as much as we care about their business, especially at this point in time. And that trickles down into their clients. You know, the other things that I think that's really lifting us up is that we're staying on top of things. We're not waiting for something to happen and then we react. So our founders are really good at looking down the road. Okay, where do we think this is going? What do we think is going to happen? Where do we need to take a left turn or right turn? The teams that we have set up, like our strategic partnership team, is amazing. It's staying on top of, okay, here's the next, you know, cancellation, here's the next push out, here's what's going to happen here, here's what they're doing to have the vendors doing for the comebacks. So there is such an internal foundation of support, both from the corporate standpoint and everything that we're creating. I mean, we have taken projects that have been sitting there and we've put them on the front burners and said, okay, look, let's go. We've got to get the stuff in the hands of our network. And then to the support again from the network for the network, it lifts everybody up. When the water rises, everybody's boat floats better. And we can't wait for the tide to change with the industry. We're having to lift ourselves up from there.
Kathy, how have you felt, you know, that support and connectiveness with your fellow travel professionals?
When Tammy talks about a family, it is truly a family. And hours don't matter. I know that I can call Tammy at any time and get lifted up. I can call anybody at Avoya. I've never worked anywhere where I've had such a support system in everything I do. Everything from, how can I say this? Can you help me with this? Can you break through rules for this? Whatever I need, I can get done. And I never feel like I'm, you know, the lone boat at sea. We're all in the same boat. We're all trying to navigate waters, including, you know, the suppliers. The suppliers are doing things that are unprecedented. Nobody's ever had to go through this before. And travel as a whole is a very small industry when you look at every aspect of the travel industry, and you meet people from all over the world, and we're all in this together, and we will come out the other side of it. It's just a matter of being patient. And one thing that and this is a little bit off topic, that I've learned, I will never, ever, ever sell a cruise without a refundable deposit. I will never, ever, ever sell a cruise without travel protection unless a waiver is signed. So some things that you think you know it all, you don't know it all, but you rely on your sisters and your brothers in the industry to guide you and help you and support you. And I'm forever thankful for that.
Chris, so Tammy kind of touched on, thinking ahead in the future, and, the co-founders looking forward and always trying to think one step ahead. How would you say Avoya is innovating to create more opportunities for independent agencies to sell travel, collaborate together, and plan for the future?
I mean, I think my co-panelists really touched on it, right? But I think it starts with great leadership. And Avoya Travel, we're led by a team of forward thinkers. And I was thinking back on this when we were preparing for this, but, I guess it's been a couple of years now, but when all of us were together at one of our national conferences, they really challenged each and every employee of Avoya Travel. And they said, listen, your job is not what your job looks like today. That's not what your job's going to look like in 6 months. And that's not to say that the leaders of Avoya Travel are like some kind of clairvoyance or had the crystal ball and they could see the pandemic coming down the road. But they did have this 50 plus years of being a family owned company in the travel industry. And so it was kind of like a been there, done that. They built it into our 2025 mission statement. And they just knew that it was inevitable that something was going to happen that was going to shake up our industry. And that as a company, if we wanted to continue to succeed and rise to the top, that we needed to be fluid and we needed to be ready, right? And so that was one of the things that was really important, so that when this pandemic hit, I think so many of us who work for Avoya were kind of already able to shift into that gear a little bit easier, right? It allowed us to make some really quick and decisive decisions. It allowed us to change the tone and the conversations that we were having with vendors. Our support team were able to rise to the challenge and be able to help guide our independent affiliates to not necessarily all of the answers, but maybe some of the research where they can find that. And so the collaboration with our affiliates has really proven to be one of the strengths of our shared success business model. And now that we add the new Avoya Marketing Resource Center to the mix, I really just think it's going to take everything to a new level.
Thank you. Susan, do you have like a story or just, example of something positive that you've experienced during, this challenging time you would like to share?
It's really, you find out who your friends are. I've learned that without the Avoya connection, I probably would have thrown my hands up and said, forget it. It's just not worth it. And before this, I've been telling Tammy, hey, I'm heading towards retirement. Actually, for the last 2 years, I have not taken a new lead. I've worked strictly with my past guests. And I thought, all right, I'm heading out of here. I'll just give it up. And then I looked at the book of business that I had, and it's like, that's not something you give up. So the decision through, talking to other IAs and to Tammy and all, that has really been a positive, uplifting experience. And I've gotten my business to the point where I want it to be, and we're just deferring our income for another year or two. But it's the relationships, like the relationship I have with AMA Waterways. I know the owners personally because of Avoya. I could never have developed the groups that I have with them, and I could never have gone to them and said proactively, you haven't canceled my sailing. Could we move 40 guests to 2022? And can I still get the same perks I had? So, I wouldn't be able to do that anywhere else. And that's really, I'm truly blessed to be part of the Avoya family. It really made all the difference in surviving this and coming out on the positive end of it.
Thank you. Kathy, do you have any example of something you would define as a success throughout, all of these challenging things going on?
Surviving is a success. I was lucky enough not to have any passengers traveling at the time of the initial shutdown. I don't know how that would have been, but I'm just very thankful that wasn't me. The support I received from Avoya has been incredible every step of the way. I was able to move probably a good 80% of my business into 2021. So now we're just hoping that that's going to go. One of the agents that works with me was able to land 2 world cruises. The first one's going this January, so it's like fingers crossed. It's just the support, and people, like I said, people still want to travel, and it's just to find those ones that are ready to pull the trigger when the gun's loaded. So it's just the support is something I'll never ever forget.
Susan, is there anything that you would recommend to travel professionals who aren't feeling supported during these challenging times?
Join the Avoya. Seriously, you could say that, okay, I should have joined 5 years ago and I might be in better shape right now, but join now and be in better shape in 5 years from now. And if you do join, be open to new things, be open to doing things a new way. That's the hardest thing, is to change how you do business and to give it an open mind. But once you do, the benefits are tremendous. And I did see there's a little comment there about the commission splits. Is that something we can address now, or I could address?
Let's see.
There was something about commission seems so far off in terms of how long it takes to get them, or?
Sure, Susan. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and address that, because that's the elephant in the room right now. So, or if you're a big bank fan, the Tweepadoc in the room. If anybody's a big bank fan, you'll know what I'm talking about. But sure, I think that's a good question. Go for it.
So when I joined Avoya, and I looked at the commission splits when it's their client versus my client, it was like, whoa, how am I ever going to make any money off of this? Well, I'll tell you, for the past, 6-7 years, I've been making 6 figures and above. So forget about it. What you're paying for is marketing. Avoya is doing the marketing. They're bringing the leads to you. They're bringing your past guests to you. And it is one of the best systems that I've ever been involved in. And it's, it really took, I think, the 3rd or 4th week to realize, okay, I can keep increasing my goal of sales because the leads are still there. And the way our dashboard works, and you put the bookings in the system, it allows you to control your bookings a lot easier because they're all there. You can set your reminders, you can set your scripts and your calendars, and so you can work a lot more business because you don't have to go to bridal shows and sit there for 2 days and lose your voice and then come home and have to call 100 people and hope that 10 of them book. And Avoya teaches you how to increase your close rate and all about your specialties. And so get over it. If that's what's stopping you, get over it.
Thanks, Susan. Kathy, looking back at when you first affiliated your business with Avoya and given the current industry climate, what would you say are the top reasons to join the Avoya network?
This is actually, it's actually my dream job. I thought I had my dream job, but I didn't. For 15 years, I was sales manager over the home-based channel for Uniworld. So my accounts were the hosts. They were all of your major hosts except Avoya, which was a house account. So, I mean, I had cruise planners, I had travel planners, I had Nexion, I had American Express home based. I had the six major host agencies sans Avoya. My position was eliminated when there was a change of management. I'm trying to be very professional as I say this. There's a change in, I was the department of one and they absorbed my position. So every one of my clients came after me, join us, join us, join us. I could have written my ticket to any other host agency as they were all familiar with me and I was familiar with them. But I never, ever gave any of them even a blink because none of them had the lead program that Avoya had. And I knew everybody in the industry on the supplier side, but I didn't have any clients. So how am I going to possibly go to a host that didn't offer a program where I could build my client base? So I contacted Avoya and I said, you know, I've worked trade shows with you guys, you know who I am. And they said, welcome on board. And literally it was the best thing I ever did and I never looked back.
Thank you.
Jomana, can I jump in here for a second?
Of
really
course.
quick second? And playing off of what Susan was talking about, you know, because this is something with the Mastermind Program that we talk to independent agencies about all the time and helping them realize what all they have as resources from Avoya. And so in the research that I have done in helping them cover that is to know that in an average travel agency in the United States, the average return on investment, that means after you've put everything out, what you're getting back, the return on investment is 12 to 15%. So going over to what Susan said, at the 30%, you're still doubling what you would get anyway, even though you're thinking it's, you know, oh my goodness, it's less than I would get if I was booking my own client. So, you know, if anybody wants it, I've got a whole page of what you get at the 30% level from that standpoint. And I will say the Mastermind Program, we've had such success. Those independent agencies that work with the Mastermind Program are typically closing at about 60 to 65% greater than those who are not in the Avoya Mastermind Program, and thus making more money. And the biggest thing about it is Avoya invests so much, you talk about those resources in our network, that they provide this program for free. So you have a sales development coach, the program is free. I know of other host agencies that are charging upwards of $10,000 and $12,000, $15,000 for such a program. So again, this is something that they're investing back into the network to help the network experience more success, because our platform is based off a shared success system. And I'm sure, Chris, you can probably jump right on into that one.
For sure. I actually want to tag on really quick just to the thought, like when I first joined the network, when I was doing the research and I wasn't a member of the team or anything, I reached out to one of the independent affiliates and I said, I'm looking at that split and the differential and it's just so glaring and I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it. And he said, as a business owner, have you ever applied for a loan? I said, yeah, I've applied for a loan. He said, and you had to fill out all of that paperwork and you had to tell them how much you made last year and how much you made the year before. He said, was there ever a single question on there that asked you what the split of the percentage of the commission that you received from the people that you were working with? And of course there's not, because they don't care, because at the end of the day, to approve you for such things, it's all about what that final number is. So when you're doing this conversation, when you're putting it all together, you have to factor in everything. If you literally took two pieces of paper and you wrote down every second that you spent doing it this way versus the way that Avoya does it, at the end of the week, you added up the pile of cash that comes in. Traditionally, and again, Susan and Kathy can check my math if I'm wrong here, the pile of money that comes in from the live leads is the one that they're really excited to see go into their bank every week, right? Because At the end of the day, that's the number that matters. It's not the split, it's what you generate from the split. And when you take into account all the amazing resources that we have, and that's really all my team wants a chance, is just to explain to you. I'm more than happy for our qualified people to set up a one-on-one demonstration of our agent power system. We can take this whole conversation an extra step deeper and really show you so that you know when you join, if you make that decision, that you're getting value for your investment.
Thanks. And did you want to add anything else, Chris, in terms of, why it is an opportune time for an experienced travel advisor, starting their own travel business, or those looking for more support from their current host network to consider joining Avoya?
I mean, I think if in these moments, right, it's such an unprecedented situation. So the only way you can really see forward is to look back. And if you traditionally look back at any time an industry is down, and some say down and out, it's also that moment that opportunity abounds. So for people that have that internal fortitude, that undying entrepreneurial spirit, this has the potential to be a huge time to make the strategic changes you need to put yourself in place to be able to move to the next level. And I'm also a big believer that if you want to be elite at something, you surround yourself with elite. It's like my dad told me when I was a kid, you don't dress for the job you have, son. He said, you dress for the job that you want. So if you want to be elite, you surround yourself with elite. Avoya Travel, we're proud to have been the #1 host agency in the country for 7 straight years, not voted by anybody but our peers, right? I mean, this is an industry vote. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens because we offer an elite set of resources for a serious travel advisor, someone who wants to be a serious business owner, access to the best in marketing, the best in technology, support at levels that other host agencies can only dream about, and the best travel advisors in the industry. If you've been on this call for the last 47 minutes and you listen to Susan, you listen to Kathy, you know these are some really elite travel professionals, and this is the kind of network that Avoya Travel supports.
Thanks, Chris. We're going to wrap up since we're getting close to the top of the hour with some Q&A. So if you have any questions that haven't been answered yet, I know we have Skip also answering questions as we go along, but if you have any other additional questions that you'd like answered, we have some time now. And then if you think of any after the call, you can reach out to us. I'll put up some contact information. I do see one question here for Kathy from a little while back. Let's see. Kathy, do you have a separate Facebook page, or is it connected to your personal page? I was advised to make mine a spin-off of the personal page, but not sure if I should change it. Also, are there templates you use? Do you share posts from vendors, or do you create your own pages?
Feel free to go to my Facebook page, A-List Travel Facebook. It is a separate page from my personal page. I never post anything personal on my business page, and likewise everything business goes to my personal, and it's also tagged to my Instagram account, which, believe it or not, my 18-year-old granddaughter manages that, because if you want social media done right, get a teenager. I do get a lot of information from Avoya. I do a lot of searching online for the right pictures depending on what I'm thinking of. I always have my tag about A-List Travel loves referrals, bucket list trip. I hashtag them. I have a gallery of pictures that I choose from, and I pretty much change it up every day. But like I said, feel free to go to my Facebook page and check it out. Like it on Facebook.
Hey, Jomana, answering that question too, and I saw Marianne's question. One of the new resources coming out in our marketing resources, is a whole area on social media. So there's going to be all sorts of social media posts that they're going to be able to copy and utilize. So, but yes, I will echo Kathy, and that's something we talk about in the Mastermind Program and at the academies. Definitely, we would encourage you to have a business Facebook page and keep it separate from your personal Facebook page.
Thanks. Let's see if I have any additional questions. All right.
Joanna, I saw one that popped in. It was directed to Susan.
Yeah.
You focus a lot on river cruises. Are you changing that up any at all with the current atmosphere of what's going on, especially with river cruises?
No.
Pure and simple.
I mean, for me, if remember, I'm not taking new leads. I last couple of years, I'm just working with past guests. A lot of them are still doing river cruises. If they come to me and they say they want an Oceania or they want a Regents or something, then of course that I will. If I wasn't heading towards retirement, I probably would be seriously reevaluating what I want to do. And Avoya has offered lots of training and options on that. It's just not something that's in the cards for me right now. So I'll stick with what I know, what I do best.
Awesome. It looks like that's it in terms of questions. If anybody else on the call did want to add anything before we wrapped up, we have a few more minutes. Tammy, Chris, Susan, or Kathy, you're welcome to share anything else you had.
Any questions that do come up that we don't get a chance to answer during this event, or any questions that, how it is if you can't think of anything, you're sitting here, you can't think of your question. As soon as we say goodbye and the screen goes dark, that question's going to pop into your mind. If that's the case, my contact information's up there on the screen, my email, chris.green@avoyatravel.com, the toll-free number to reach out to me, avoyanetwork.com website. We're more than happy to continue the engagement. Like I said earlier, jump in a little bit deeper and go from there. So, this doesn't have to be the end of the conversation, even if it's the end of the town hall.
Mm-hmm. And Chris, just really quickly, I know we had somebody asked in the chat that Skip answered, but if you want to answer it out loud so everybody else can hear, in terms of cost to join Avoya and any costs associated, if you can kind of go over those really quickly.
Certainly, yeah. So Avoya Travel, again, in order to be elite, right? One of the things about Avoya Travel is that we don't compete with our independent affiliates at all, like many of the other host agencies who have a really strong inside. So we were able to keep the integrity and the strength of the network together. And of course, we take into account all of the industry standards going on. Currently, our affiliation fee to join is $495. But again, it's not just about what you're investing. It's about what you're going to get for that investment. It's the same thing that anybody that's an experienced travel agent tells your clients. What kind of value are you going to receive for the return on your investment? At the end of the day, if you're just about price point, to be honest with you, Avoya Travel is probably not the best fit for you anyway. If you're the kind of person that wraps your head around price and value and all the things that kind of come with that, then Avoya is a fantastic fit. So we're $495 for the initial affiliation fee. For most of our agents, there's not really a monthly fee because our expectation after you've been with us a couple of months is to just generate $1,000 in gross commissions for the month, and that gets your $49 monthly fee waived. And we think that's certainly very fair. So when you look at the resources, we really feel that we're a bargain. And at the end of the day, the investment return that you get from what you're putting forward is really what you should be looking at. Our affiliates make far and away, on an average, much higher than they do with other host agents. So again, the proof's in the pudding. You invest and you look for value in that investment. That's what you've always done throughout all of our lives.
Thank you. Well, I think that'll wrap it up here. Thanks again to everybody who joined the call. If you have any additional questions, again, the contact information is up there, and we'll follow up with you as soon as we can. Thank you to everybody, and thank you again to our panelists for joining us. Have a great afternoon.
Bye.